Come tangle in the stars with me, and silently I'll show you what it means to love a glance. We are celestial bodies, grazing each other's atmospheres until suddenly we realize we are in the same orbit. We will push, pull each other, test the other's strength, and see exactly how much time we've spent up here in zero gravity, because the only pull I see is that of you and me, and apparently that's not enough to warrant full-blown contact. Because in my mind, our lips brush and we have deep discussions, but it's probably just due to lack of oxygen. The depth of our connection is distorted by perception, and I'm sure that there are hooks in you whispering not to follow, wishing you won't follow, praying that the pull of endless sky is gone tomorrow. But you know how the wind feels when it's sent out by the night. Yeah, you know that the moon is calling to you with her light, her face forcefully lit by the sun is condescending, and who wants to live in the day when outside night is never ending? You and I were made to be sky ships and anchors. And I'll surrender if you surrender, if we can both set aside our white flags and finally make a connection more than just that of the eyes. You and I are celestial bodies. You and I are celestial bodies. You and I are celestial bodies. We are twisting around each other. We are supernovas pressing over one another. We are planets in motion. We are stars and potions. We are smoke and mirrors. We are chutes and ladders. We are organismic prayers aimed at the sun. We are fighting in a battle that has never once been won through the bounds of history. The grassroots of humanity. Never have two beings truly become one when light, when dream, when star, when seam, stitching together the outskirts of the universe. We are celestial beings that somehow ended up on Earth.
Thank you, Julia. Something that I forgot to mention is that something unique to spoken word poetry and spoken word poets is that we really feed off the energy of the audience, and this isn't the typical poetry reading, this is a performance. So if you feel moved by a line, feel free to show that. Some people snap, some people clap, in moderation. Some people stomp, some people just make noises that they can't help but make. And if that happens, I encourage it. I wish I was like that. I try so hard, but it is tough for me. There's people at poetry shows that just go, they're not trying. I have to try, you can tell. But if you feel it coming, please grab it, because I am so envious of you, because I really want to be able to express through sound like that. So keep it in mind. Let it out if it comes. Next up, we have Emmy with Restless Clocks.
Today, I'm defined by hours. I count my years and hours as they flick by. I worry I'm wasting them. But the clocks keep on moving, never slowing down, and all I see around me are clocks taking away my time. When I was little, an hour was forever. Now it's just another segment of life, passing as you flip channels on the couch. The couch has become your refuge, your bat cave. My bat wings are over my ears, trying to block out the ticking of the clock has imprinted itself over my eyes, and it won't let me forget. That clock doesn't count in hours. It counts in moments that make life worth living, and lately it seems to have stopped. I wish there was a clock repairman who could speed up the ticking of the clock to match my beating heart and fall in love with me. Clock repairman, you are long overdue, and my gears are downshifting. I'm not an old woman yet, but when I fall asleep, I hear my bones creak, as if to say goodbye to the night. We spend a third of our lives asleep, but I don't want to be one of those people who's in bed by the time the fun starts. That's me today. Tonight, I will sleep while there is joy. In the streets will be filled with people who spread their wings and stop the clock. Just for a minute, they made time stop. Just for an hour, they sang so loud that the ticking of tomorrow was a whisper in the distance, too many years down the road to matter. I'm getting old too fast. Today, I am 20 years of sorrow, already grieving for the future. Next week, I'll be 80, unable to remember my own name, and trying to forget the years I wasted counting hours. When I was little, my grandmother gave me a watch, and I told everyone what time it was, whether they wanted to know or not, just to prove that I could read the clock. If only I could stop telling time, then maybe I could tell time to stop. The clocks are haunting me, taunting me. I am Captain Hook, dreaming of a ticking crocodile. He opens his jaws to swallow me, but stops. He says, time is marching on, you are wasted in the wind, and swims away as I yearn for his jaws of deliverance. But I'm too late. The watch my grandmother gave me has long since stopped. Time took its ticking heart and forgot to leave an hour for goodbyes. Tick, tick, tick. I don't want to be left behind. Thank you.
Next up, we have Alex with Intercourse.
Okay, my originality is lost somewhere between teenage American culture and some kid's whack autobiography. See, this is for the girl who would one day shatter my vertebrae, just to show the world and you I no longer had a spine. If Animorphers were real, girl, and you had the ability to be anything in the world, can we please be honest? I think you'd still kind of be a bitch. Now, I mean that in the nicest way possible. Okay, you're looking at me like I'm lying, I'm sorry. See, I failed math, history, and pottery. I was that bad student who could never figure out what went wrong because no matter what words I molded together, I still couldn't solve the problems. So I got an F for not trying to get past us. I seem to use the word I more than my exes. Pretty much any girl I would ever text with. See, I'd rather get stabbed in the eye with a fork to see if that pain transcends the width of my eyelid. Listening to some red hot bastards road tripping. Goddamn sorry, see, I can't get my story straight or my lines. Paved roads beside the grassy meadows who are burnt to their tips thanks to the simmering summer's time's embrace. Icy fields with harvest ready to be picked. And even with that beauty in front of my face, I still find myself trying hard as I can to believe in fictional people in attempts to build character. What am I? I'm the product of hate, shaking hands with flavor, the nasty aftertaste of lime on the tip of your tongue, a mixture of bad memories and time well spent. But if you're wondering how I feel, well, see, through all the relationships and hardships, I've only got down to describe it. Imagine if all the cute puppies in the world died. You know exactly how I'm feeling right now. My mind, it happens to be a blank page that my mom would allow me to draw in. See, this girl I know, she has night terrors, feeling all men do nothing but leave. But I guess I'm relieved to know I exist, being the only devil in which she believes. See, I insert no metaphors into my writings, simply rewritings of my alibi. I got picture-perfect worries on the canvas of miseries and securities, and of course, this dark but delightful scenery. It's better being distracted than, to sit around, rejected and neglected by the one who said I could paint a better picture than the mirror reflected. The forgotten one, who left rotten butterfly carcasses swimming in acidic fluids within my stomach. But I don't care about all that. Living a life with contradictions, I don't care about all that. I just thank God for evolution. See, if it wasn't for evolution, I would have been the only form of marine life to have drowned. And a pro tip, if you wish to participate in intercourse, try to avoid all the whores.
Welcome up Anna with The Light.
The slowly drowning sun casts shadows like a director on the actors hiding beneath my basement stairs. They'll never be in Hollywood or on Broadway because they aren't really afraid of the light. I used to hide under there too when the stairs creak sounded like bloody screams and the screams came from me. One night after the sun drowned, my ugly monster knocked on my closet door and said, "This is just my vacation house. Look inside yourself and you'll see my home." I'm not just another actress eating a plastic passion fruit and pretending it's real passion with real creative juices that flow out. I really am dreadful every time the sun floats back to the surface of the sky and the FBI searches for the murderer. Because at the end of the episode, they'll find out that it was my monster that did it, just trying to protect me because I really am afraid of the light. Why? An ugly fluorescent shine. It shows that my heart has bruises on it and my willpower could use some hours at the gym. So I miss the days where we lived in triangles, not pyramids. I'm not sure when it all became 3D because I hate wearing those glasses everywhere. And I hate this lonely feeling inside, like a playground on a rainy day. I just want to play, but the metal is covered in water that the sky cried last night when nobody was around to see it. And I hate this empty feeling inside, like, oh God. And the tree's branches are empty now. like hands not being held. I would hold them, but I'm too scared of getting my heart ripped to shreds by you like a carnivorous pack of dogs on a piece of meat. So I guess I'm just a tree too, with empty hands and a monster inside that's long overstayed his welcome. And when the light shows its face tomorrow morning, I'll hide mine.
Next we have Rachel with Uncle Smoke.
Every time I see the smoke billowing out of a person's mouth, I hear it whisper, "I'm killing them." As its gray transparent hands creep down and wrap their incorporeal fingers around that person's neck, I've known the smoke for years. Ever since I was a child, sitting with my father, who was almost always absent from my life while I tried to talk to him and he tried to inhale the tobacco and nicotine into his lungs. It was the smell of my father, the smell that once reminded me of someone I knew and loved. Not loved, but loved. It was a scent that evoked a very pleasant feeling, and now it is just a stench. A stench I am so familiar with and have known for so long that a few times it has clung to me simply because I, at one point, sat close to someone with the addiction that has been passed down through the generations. I know the scent so well that those who inhale its silent deadliness are so apparent to me that when I look at them, I almost never have to smell them anymore. It is a sign hanging around their neck like a noose, painted to look like black lungs. Cigarettes are practically a family member, but not one of those, "Oh, I've missed you so much" types, or the crazy aunts and kooky uncles, but the ones who you invite to a party to be polite. The kind who asks for money and knows he can't pay it back, the one who will fool generation after generation after inviting it into their homes, only to smother them quietly in their sleep. It was a drug that started with at least my grandfather, then was handed to my father and taken up by my older brother. My foolish older brother who has made mistakes and done stupid things on purpose, only to get lucky, and yet the fates still smile on him. As much of a fool as he is, even my brother has given it up and left it behind. My grandfather too. The only one left is my father. He smokes daily. He puts a cigarette into his mouth and inhales because no matter how he tries, he can't quit. And no matter what I think, he still won't. So when I see my evil old uncle leaving my father's mouth, or smell him on the coat of a stranger, or see the carefully placed guilt and desperation on the faces of my classmates, I feel his voice brushing against my ears, the smell of him invading my space, carefully extending his finger-like tendrils towards that sweet spot on my neck as he whispers, carefully, softly, "Why don't you try me out? After all, I'm killing them and they don't care." But instead, I just keep walking. And I ignore him, and I keep pretending that he doesn't bother me. But he does.